Community for me is part of what keeps me accountable. It's part of, I believe we were designed to live in communion, and part of communion is that community. It's more than a twist on words. We need our community to help keep us accountable, to help remind us, uh, give us mentors and role models to follow, and be mentors and role models for others too. I'm Richard Hickson. I grew up Methodist. I converted to Catholicism as an adult with my wife back in 1999. So I did grow up Methodist. We had a strong faith life. I remember being active in that parish. I remember my parents talking about a lot of the same things that I do as an adult. Between Sunday school, this is what we would call faith formation, choir, potlucks, service projects, lugging chairs up and down stairs for these potlucks and these events. That's something I remember doing as a family with my siblings and my father. It's been part of my background, and certainly joining full communion with the church and Christ the King 99 was part of my full conversion into the Catholic faith. The rite of Christian initiation for adults, RCIA. That is, we were in that for quite a while. My wife at the time, we converted together into the Catholic Church. And I remember yearning for the Eucharist. We learned so much about the faith. We learned that at the real presence of Christ, we really both yearned for it. And I remember the priest, he was a parochial vicar at the time. And he said, just remember when you do finally have that first experience with Jesus as the real presence, to remember every time you receive the Eucharist, remember that first day, that first time. There's a scouting program at our church, and these are men that I'm impressed with. I'm amazed by them. And of course, there's scouting skills that you learn, whether it's fire building or knots and lashings, or how to cook in a Dutch oven, or how to backpack, how to set up a tent in the dark and deal with adverse weather. All that is fantastic skills. But to me, the most important aspect of that is living your faith among it, while you're experiencing dead car batteries on a Friday night in the middle of nowhere, locking your keys in the car and having all these eyes looking at you to see how you respond to it. This is our faith. This is it's everyday life. In 2018, my wife had a heart attack. We were on our way back from the wedding. She was driving and experienced a heart attack, a massive heart attack, collapsed at the wheel with my daughter and myself in the car and in the vehicle. We ended up able to get control of the vehicle, pulled it to the side, started CPR, dialed 911. And long story short, about 5 months later, after multiple hospitals, multiple emergency room visits, ended up at home on hospice, and she passed away. And the community that just instantly engaged with support, with love, with not even knowing what needed to be done, but just with the gift of their presence and their time was completely overwhelming. They lifted us up in prayer. They took care of everything. And when I say everything, it was, I would complain one day about coffee cups in the waiting room in the ICU lounge. And the next day there's a pile of coffee cups sitting there. There were 100 people that showed up on the street in the front of the house praying a rosary with candles. I had one friend who was, she played the role of mission control. She worked communications. She worked visits of who was going to be there at night to stay with Joan. This experience with my wife and my children's mother was, it opened wounds and sores of other people where they shared their experiences. They were reliving their grief. They were reliving their pain. Just being able to realize that, it comes full circle. And it comes full circle amazingly fast. That people being there for me, giving their gift of presence, giving their gift of love and service, they have their own challenges too. It's not all about us. It's not all about us. God gives us these opportunities to nurture to each other. In dealing with the grief, there are certainly formal programs. There's a grief share program, and that's a fantastic experience. But there's also just everyday life. So many people have dealt with grief. So many people have dealt with pain. And the classic questions of why does a good God allow such horrible things to happen? Well, it happens. It happen. Horrible things happen to fantastic people. And my wife was fantastic. And I'm thankful. One of the aspects of the Acts community, the Acts retreat community, is it really focuses on the laity and getting men and women to step up amongst their peer groups and lead with faith, to put their faith on display. And we're all on a path. We're all sinners. None of us are perfect, but it's a chance within this retreat community to share your faith, of what our faith has done for us, and specifically for me, but it's to help bring others closer to Christ. It's not to set ourselves up on a pedestal saying that we're perfect, but it is to share a personal experience of our own with others, with the whole goal and objective to bring others closer to Christ. And as a retreat director, that is certainly it was a very easy mission for me to understand. It's a very difficult mission to deliver, but it really goes back to it's not about us. Certainly, each of us have our own experiences, but getting ourselves to heaven is certainly a priority. But getting others to heaven too